Thank you for watching Hack the File. I'm Michael Lopez, and on today's episode, we're going to be doing a new CompTIA A Plus certification study videos and guide. Enjoy. All right, we're back. Another Hack the File series start. Um, so I recently decided that I want to put together a study guide um, for not getting into cybersecurity, but for um, having the practical skills or skills for any cybersecurity position, right? Um, and I'm not focusing on entry level or anything because people watching could be enthusiasts that are just wanting to understand about cybersecurity and want to get better or want to hack on the for a hobby or want to hack freelance or whatever your imagination or your creative minds can come up with. It doesn't matter, right? I mean, you're a cybersecurity enthusiast. You love hacking. You love defensive security. You love learning about cybersecurity. It interests you. That's why you're probably watching my channel. Um, I'm gonna break down a course structure and maybe sell it or teach it. I'm gonna try to pitch it to the university and I'm at to see if we can teach it, since cybersecurity is so big right now and it's growing. But in order for me to teach it or do any of that, I'm going to have to get some basic certifications, right? Because the basic certifications are going to be part of my idea. So, and we could go over a little bit more of that right now, but where we want to start, okay, is with CompTIA, right? So how how I want to start is I want to start from the start, right? This is what I do. I don't like to jump in the middle of stuff. Some people can. Some people can jump to um, something that's really complicated to understand it and then jump back to the basics. I mean, some people are amazing people, and I'm not gonna chop nobody down. There's no rules to this. As long as you understand all the components, I would say, or you understand the most important components, then you'll be really effective, right? And then you'll be really effective in the job area. Because I've heard a lot of like um, interviews with hackers. On David Bombal and all this stuff. He has a lot of hackers. He talks to them, and it seems like they all say, if they've worked in the industry with IT people or any kind of people in cyber, and they've been in it for 20, 30 years, but they know how to do all the cookie cut stuff, right? Setting up IDSs and firewalls and all this stuff and whatever, and architecture and all that. But they don't understand how the hackers are hacking them, right? And this is coming from the words of somebody that's been hacking for 30 years or whatever, right? So these are predominant hackers that are writing books, that are known for knowing their stuff. And if you listen to all those interviews, they all start, and I agree, right? So like my background is electrical engineering technology. So I started off learning how electricity works, how electricity works, electrical calculations, and that's what a computer is. It uses on and off. It's ones and zeros. Okay, so when I was learning all that stuff, it was easy for me to transition into computers, because that's how their basic fundamentals of how they work is electricity, 0 to 1 volt, zero. I'm sorry, 1 to 5 volts. I think under 5 it's off, over 5 volts it's on. and or something like that. I don't know if it's volts or millivolts, milliamp. Oh yeah, millivolt. I can't remember. But anyways, it's either on or off, right? It's binary, and it starts with electricity, right? So it was easy. Okay, so skip all that. Bottom line is that you have to start at the basics. So I was lucky to get to start at the basics already, and I was able to transition into the basic fundamentals. Now, going back to, like I said, some people can skip it. That's fine, but you're gonna always have to come back, I would say. Now it depends on what you're doing, right? If you're not building PCs and you're not, doing all that stuff, then you might not need to. But I would say it's the if you're building a house, you're gonna start with the foundation. Okay, you're not gonna go out and go rent the electricians and carpenters and all that if you haven't laid your concrete and your foundation yet. You have to make sure that you can even lay it down first of all, or else you waste your time, right? I don't know. Anyways, so let's start with the A plus. So what I would start is this A plus complete study guide, right? Now, I have many different A plus certification books. So I've got this one. A lot of people use this one, the CompTIA A plus certification. It is huge. It's huge. It's like block thick, 2 blocks thick. Man, this sucker is huge, right? But this is the one that people use in schools and stuff. It's great, right? By Mike Myers. It's kind of might be outdated or something. This one, but and then I got this exam cram that I got, and all these books are great. Probably, I don't know. You just find one, right? But if you want to follow along with me, I'm going to make a new series, and I'm going to do this CompTIA A plus. Okay. So my plan is to get through this, and I'm going to get through this, and I'm going to get through this the right way, and I'm going to show you how um, I started. Right. I'm going to give you tips on how to even study from this book for yourself. Okay, so now let's go back to this guy. Okay, this guy was a martial artist, and he in Korea. Right, this is not off topic. I'm not gonna go deep into who he is or anything, but this is a Huang Ki. Okay, so he was a Taekwondo master in Korea that started Taekwondo, and he started Tang Sudo, right? And he was one of the, I guess, like there was like 12 masters that started it, whatever, right? And then they all branched off. I guess the General Lee or whatever his name was, Chung Choi or whatever, started the Taekwondo that everybody knows about today. But this guy was the originator of the original Tang Sudo that like Chuck Norris learned and all that. Anyways, I like this saying right here. This scene right
I'm not
here.
quite sure how to help you with that.
Oh, nobody can help me with that, Alexa. Just calm down. Anyways, so she's trying to be my psychiatrist or something. All right. Anyways, so going back to this, um, I love this quote right here. This quote right here. You guys should take this quote and use it for all your schooling or all your test preparation, test exams, or whatever, right? So it says, where there is preparation, there is no fear. So he's meaning more martial arts, right? Prepare for martial arts. Train, and then you won't have any fear if somebody attacks you. I love it. This traditional martial arts is great. Um, so I'm gonna take that saying, where there is preparation, there is no fear, and you're gonna be. And this is the other, Chong Hong Hee. I don't know who that guy is, but anyways, you take that and you apply it to all your test taking and stuff, right? So, with that being said, let's get in here, and we're gonna open this book. And so, if we look through this book, I can already tell you how it's gonna work, right? So, this is CompTIA fourth edition. I think this is the newest exams because they just changed them last year, and I think they're good for 2 years, right? And I'm sure it's all gonna be the same. I mean, what are they gonna add more to it that it's gonna make me fail, right? So A plus certification is chopped up into 2 exams. It's one exam, and then it's the other one, right? And this is all, and we're going to read through it real quick. We're going to skim through it, and then we're going to study. But this is all hardware. This is how hardware operating systems and all that. This is how the computers work. So this certification, this is the one you got to start with, right? This is the one that sets you off on your journey to be more credible. And even if you want a job entry level, you have this cert, you have network plus cert. So if you have this cert and you have your network plus certification right here, and you have your security plus certification, you'll get any entry level job. I don't care if you've been working at McDonald's for 20 years and you decide you want to get into cybersecurity now, right? If you have those three certs, you will get an entry level position. You know, you might not get paid a lot when you start, but it's way above what you're going to get paid at McDonald's. I can tell you that much. And it's entry level though, and then you build on that, and then you can get more certs if you don't want to go the degree way. Then you can go to the degree way, but you don't even have to ever go the degree way ever if you don't want to. Once you get these certs, you can get an entry level job, and then you can go get any of the certs you want. Cybersecurity is a beautiful field, I would say, because it runs off of certifications, apparently, right? Whether you agree with certifications or not, I really don't. I don't like them. I don't. It's not that I don't like them. I don't. It's like a you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, right? You know, I'm damned if I do go get them. Well, I don't know. It's not damned if you do, damned if you don't. Let me take that back. It's that doesn't make any sense. It's more like I don't care to get them because I got degrees, right? But why should I have to get a certificate to prove that I know how to do my stuff when I've passed all these classes in it? Now, but and I see it as them just, you know, I think an employer needs to take a chance on their employees, whether if with their degree, and say, well, he must know his stuff. He's got a degree. This all this does is make them go, oh, we don't even have to take a chance. He's been tested, and CompTIA knows, and he had to pay. You know, I got to pay more than my degree, right? So it just, you know, to show that I know my stuff, to show, to make your life easier, so you can go, oh yeah, we'll hire him. He obviously knows this stuff, you know. Instead of just like you taking the risk because you're the employer, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I have to pay more, right? So you don't have to take a risk. But anyways, but on the flip side, it makes it easier to break into the industry when you can just get these certs. Because if that's all they care about, get these certs, right? And they're not hard, and they're not expensive. $300. Let's say you take it, you can't pass it the first 3 times, but you study in this study guide with no practical experience, and you pass it on the third time. That's $900. That's cheaper than one class of a degree. And even in a degree, when you get a degree, a 2-year degree, they pass 2-year degree, no certifications. They might get an entry level job, but they've spent quadruple the money than you spent. You could get the same job with just 3 certs. So I mean, it's just it's a beautiful thing if you think of it like that. It's awesome. So, you know, okay. So I'm ranting and raving, but I think that this is all important. This is all very important to the philosophy of my teaching and what we're going to be teaching, right? So that's why I kind of rant and rave on it. But so but anyways, it doesn't matter what you're trying to do with this cert or the other certs. They once you pass this cert, you will even know that you know the basics of it, right? And the reason why I'm making this video and I'm going to do this video is for you guys, my viewers, my students, or whoever wants to study this. And I'm going to show you how to study through it properly so you will pass it, right? That's the whole point. And you can do whatever you want with it, right? So let's go in. And so the first thing you want to do when you're trying to do a study guide, right? You want to open this up, and it goes off that this is why I was making you look at that same with preparation. There's no fear. So this is what I put together. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put together a little Word documentation. So you create your own file on your desktop or whatever. Mine is in Documents, and I created a CompTIA prep folder, CompTIA A plus prep folder, and chapter scores from tests. And I made it. I opened, just right click, new Word, Word document. I do it like that because I'm used to Linux now. So I made this document. Okay, it says CompTIA A plus exam preparation score tracker. The date I started is today. The date I ended is to be completed, and the test date is when I'm ready to take the test and get my cert. I'm gonna put that in when I finish this book and I think I'm ready. Like I can pass it. Okay, I broke this down into part one, and then I named it core hardware and troubleshooting. That's the first part of the test. Chapter one, review questions, incorrect answers. Now I'm gonna list here the ones that I get wrong, and you'll see what I'm talking about right now in a second. And then performance-based questions, because we'll go over what they are. I'll have the listed incorrect answers here, and then set two, I'll have the listed incorrect answers here. That way, at the end of the whole test, I can go back and see which ones I need to brush up on, and I need to know those before I'm ready to take the test. Then I'll come back and redo them and see if I get them right, and I'll make another part of this thing. So there's chapter 1 through 14 on the first one, and I've got these all set up, right? And then part 2, I've got chapter 15 through 26. So I've got this all set up. This is the preparation part, right? Of what I'm doing. And this is all you need. You don't need to go crazy and blah, blah, take notes and all this crap. I mean, if you really are struggling with the topic, then maybe you're gonna do whatever you can do. I mean, I'm not trying to discourage you, but that's basically all you need. You need to go through these and write down at the end of the practice questions on each chapter. Write down which ones you get wrong. So where I got that from, that little template, is I went through here and I went to this part 1, right? And I looked at the chapters. You got all these chapters, 1 through 14. Okay, at the end of every chapter, I noticed that they have review questions, right? And here's your review questions to see if you know your stuff. It's a study guide, right? Book. They're gonna have the review questions. I'm gonna answer all these questions in my videos that I make, okay? And see how many I get wrong. Like today, I'm gonna try to do that, okay? And then they got performance based. Now, performance based, we're gonna go over what performance based are right now. They're more of can you do it on the computer, right? And they give you little examples and stuff and all that, and we're gonna try to do that too, right? And I'm gonna see how many I get wrong. And we're not gonna install and configure expansion cards and all that. I mean, this is just they're not gonna have you do that in the test. It might be a virtual simulation of it, so we never know. But we're gonna just do this book, and then we're gonna go to maybe YouTube and see what kind of performance based, and try to prepare that way too. But we'll be all right. Just based off this book, we'll be all right. Then I went to chapter 2, part 2, right? And then it's got 1 to 26. And then if you go to each chapter, it's just the same thing. Exam, review questions, performance based. That's it. So I just put together that template, and that's where I based that template off of, and that's it. Okay, that's the preparation first. You want to do that first. You don't want to do that as you're doing it and all that. You want to take that template, make some kind of template. Doesn't have to be a perfect template. But what I did is I made a crappy template first, and then I took it and then I ran it through ChatGPT, and I told ChatGPT to make it better, and he popped out this for me. So don't think that I did this myself. I use ChatGPT, and ChatGPT works. And so I use that, and ChatGPT, I'm just gonna call it ChatGPT. Um, Pump me up something great. All right, so now let's just start. So we're gonna, like we always start. We always start. I have to give the book creator credit. So, you know, CompTIA A plus, save 10% on exam vouchers. So I can save 10% when I take the test. Hopefully, it still works because this book's, I think, is like a year old, 2 years old, or it's a year old. Um, but it's the A plus complete study guide, exam core one. And you know what? Let me look that up. I want to see if this is even up to date. I mean, but if it's not, it should. I mean, it doesn't matter. This, I know all this stuff, but let's see. Let's see if I really do. Um, what number is the CompTIA exam at now? CompTIA A plus exam. Is it 220-1001 and 220-1002? Question mark. See what it says. The current CompTIA exam numbers are 220-1101. Okay, so it's new now. The previous versions were 101 and were retired on October the 2022. Is there anything specific? Um, what is the major differences? The major difference between the old exam and the new ones are primarily in the content and the focus areas. Here are some key changes. Mobile devices. The new exam places a strong emphasis on mobile device security. I mean, really, it's a CompTIA A plus. How much security is going to go into networking? There's a deeper focus on networking, cloud virtualization, increased coverage of cloud data management, more emphasis on data migration, new domains added. New exams include. Shoot, we might have to get a new one then. All right, we might have to get a new one. Let me see. Let me pause this and see if I can get the newest one. All right, so I'm back. I got the newest one, and it just upgraded it for me. So I think I had to pay $10 more or something since I had the old one. All right, so here's the new one. This is the updated 1101 exam, and I think you have like a year or 6 months. And here's the interactive tools that I'm not going to use, but it comes with interactive tools and everything. This might be really good. Anything by, um, you know, I guess Quenton Doctor. Um, I like or whatever. When it looks like this, it looks like the actual exam book because it comes with a lot of study material. All right, let's go to the title page. So CompTIA A plus complete study guide. Core exam 220-1101 and 220-1102 by Quenton Doctor and John Buhogir. It's dedicated to his girls. And I don't really care about the acknowledgments on this study guide. We always do about the authors a little bit. So Quenton Doctor, A plus, Network plus, IT fundamentals. So he's got all these security. He's got all these certifications from CompTIA. Is an IT consultant who started in the industry in '94. Since then, he's worked as tech and networks support specialist, trainer, consultant, webmaster. He has written more than a dozen books, including books on A plus, IT fundamentals, and that's another one I might take. Cloud essentials, servers, Windows, all kinds of stuff. John Buhagar. John Buhagar. Network Plus, A Plus. He's got all these. Is an information technology professional with 2 decades experience, higher education. Past he's been responsible for network operations, Pittsburgh Technical College. Okay, these guys know their stuff. So then we'll come here. Okay, welcome to CompTIA A Plus Complete Study Guide. This is the fifth edition to our best-selling study guide, A Plus certification, sponsored by See, look, and this one is sponsored by CompTIA. So if it's sponsored by CompTIA, then you know it's going to be lined up with it, right? So this is written at intermediate technical level. We assume that you already know how to use a personal computer and basic peripherals, USBs, printers, all that stuff. All right. So here we go. We're just going to start because all we know it's a study guide. Part 1, Chapter 1, motherboards, processors, and memories. And this is going to be the same. This is the last one. So the following CompTIA A Plus exam objectives are covered in this chapter. Given a scenario, install the appropriate RAM. RAM types. We have virtual RAM, small outline, dual inline memory module, SODIMM, double data rate 4, DDR4, double data rate 5, error correction code ECC RAM, single channel, dual channel, triple channel, quad channel. Given a scenario, install and configure motherboards, central processing units, and add-on cards. Motherboard from Factor, Advanced Technology Extended ATX, Information Technology Extended ITX, motherboard, connector types, perpetual component interconnect PCI, PCI Express, power connectors, SATA, eSATA, SAN, headers, M2, motherboard compatibility, CPU sockets, advanced micro devices, Intel, oh yeah, AMD, this is AMD, Intel server, multi-sockets desktop, mobile, basic input output systems, BIOS, unified extendable firmware, interface, settings, UEFI, boot options, USB permissions, trusted platform module, TPM security features, fan considerations, secure boot, boot password, encryption. Is this just like a huh? TPM, oh encryption, TPM, hardware security module, HSM, CPU architecture times x64, x86, advanced RISC machine, ARM, RISC, single core, multi threading, virtualization support. Live long and prosper. You too, Spock. Cooling, fans, heat sink, thermal paste pads, liquid. The computer, oh, I guess it just goes through like hot points and then whatever. The computer we use daily, from the largest servers to the smallest smartwatches and everything between, are a collection of different electronic components, softwares working together in the system. Digital computers have been around since the late 1930s, so they aren't new. They aren't new news. As you would imagine, though, their looks and functionality have evolved considerably since then. As technology improves over the years, computers got smaller and faster, and inventors added features like required new hardware, devices. Inspired by typewriters, keyboards were added for use of input. Visual displays required a monitor and a video card and standard interface between them. Sound was provided by different expansion cards and speakers. Because of the newly added features, PCs were modular by necessary. This is a new feature or functionality where needed. New components could be added, or if a part failed, it would be replaced by a new one. Along the ways, in the late 1960s, the term Personal computer (PC) was coined to differentiate between computers designed to be used by one person versus other options, such as mainframes or other where multiple users share a processor. This book, CompTIA A exams, focuses on PC hardware and software. PC hardware and software. Unless specified, mention otherwise, the terms PC, computer are used interchangeably through this book. Much of the computing industry today is focused on smaller devices such as laptops, tablets, and smartphones. Laptops have outsold desktops computers since 2015, and it seems that everyone has a smartphone glued to their hand today. Smaller devices require some components, as do their bigger desktop sized cousins. Of course, the components are smaller and many times integrated into the same circuit board. The functionality of the individual parts still critical, though. So what you'll learn here to serve you well, regardless of the type of device you're working on. Even though all parts inside a computer case are important, some are more important than others. You'll sometimes hear people refer to big three computer parts, which are the motherboard, processor, and the memory. Without these, the computer won't work. Whereas if a sound card fails, it's probably not going to make the entire system inoperable. It is this chapter you will learn how to identify, install, and configure the big three, which are the critical to the computer's functionality. You'll also learn about cooling systems because too much heat causes component melt, which can make a very bad day for the computer user. Note, with small computer devices being far more relevant, you might wonder why we're starting this book talking about components that are prominently in the desktop larger systems. We intentionally cover this material for first because it is important to understand what each component does individually. It might help you isolate the functionality of each piece of the system, which is critical for troubleshooting and fixing problems. Besides, if you're working or want to be working as a computer technician, you'll likely see plenty of the desktop sized PCs in your travels. Understanding motherboards. Otherwise known as system board or main board. This is a printed circuit board (PCB), which is a conductive, and we could even copy and paste for notes. Now, I mean, you can make notes, um, but I don't think you're going to be able to take notes into your test, right? So you're gonna try to want to memorize all this if you can. I don't know. I used to take notes, but that's like if I'm cramming for an exam. We're gonna go over all the stuff we get wrong anyways. So right before we take the test, this is the printed circuit board (PCB), which is a conductive series of pathways laminated to a non-conductive substrate that lines the bottom of the computer and is often of a uniform color such as green, brown, blue, black, or red. It is the most important component in the computer because it connects all the other components together. So the system board or main board, PCB, shows it figure 1-1. That's PCB. Shows a typical PC system board. Here it is. That's what it looks like. That's the motherboard, PC board, PCB board. As seen from above, all the other components are attached to the circuit board. On the system board, you will find the central processing unit (CPU) slot or integrated CPU, underlying circuitry, expansion slots, video components, random access memory slots, and a variety of other chips. We will be discussing each of these components throughout this book. So, do you see where this is going? This is all the parts and everything, how a computer works. And it goes deeper in, I guess, other stuff now. But this one has less chapters, 12 and 22. So, I think that's better. Motherboard form factors. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of different motherboards in the market today. It can be overwhelming trying to figure out which one is which and you need it. To help think of motherboards in terms of which types they are, based on the standard classification, system boards are classified by their form factor design, such as ATX or ITX. Exercise care and vigilance when acquiring a motherboard component separately. Motherboards will have different expansion slots, support certain processors, memories, and fit in some cases and not others. Be sure that the other parts are physically capable with the motherboard you choose. So what you do is you look up the right motherboard for your computer if you want to replace the whole thing. Advanced Technology Extended. ITEL developed the Advanced Technology Extended ATX motherboard in the mid 1990s to improve upon the classic AT style motherboard architecture that ruled the PC world for many years. The ATX motherboard has a processor and memory slots at right angles to expansion cards like the one in Figure 111. 1.1. This arrangement puts the processor and memory in line with the fan output of the power supply, allowing the processor to run cooler. Nice. Because those components are not in line with the expansion card, you can install full length expansion cards adapters that extend full length side this of the standard cases and the ATX motherboard machine ATX derives such as micro ATX is a primary PC motherboard from the factory used today for factor in use today. Standard ATX motherboards measure blah 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 12 inches and 9.6 inches. Note: we will discuss expansion cards in more depth and cover the part of the exam and cover that part of exam objectives in 3.4. Chapter 2: Expansion cards, storage devices, and power supplies. Information Technology Extended. The Information Technology Extended ITX line of the motherboard form factors was developed by the VIA Technologies in early 2000 as a lower power small form factor board for specialty issues including home theater systems, compact desktop systems, gaming systems, embedded components. ITX itself is not an actual form factor, but a family of form factors. Mini ITX. There's all these ITXs. Nano, Pico, Mobile. Only little mobile ones. The Mini ITX motherboard has four mounting holes and line up with three or four holes and then marker blah blah blah. In the Mini ITX board, the rear interface is placed on the same location as the motherboard. Blah, blah, blah. This is where the mounting capability ends because despite the PC capability of the ITX factors, they're using embedded systems such as set top boxes, home entertainment systems, smartphones. Lack of requisite mounting and interface specification shows the three larger forms of ATX motherboards next to the ATX motherboards in comparison. Standard ATX, Micro ATX, Mini, Nano. So this stuff is for other things. This is for what laptops and desktops. ITX motherboards via Mini ITX from form blah blah blah. System board components. Now that you understand the basic types of motherboards, their form factors, it's time to look at the key characteristics and components of the motherboard, reactable, their location, blah 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 blah. Bus architecture, chipsets, expansion slots, memory slots, central processing sockets, power connectors, onboard volatile storage connectors, motherboards, BIOS, CMSO, CMOS battery, CMOS and CMOS battery, front panel connectors, and headers. In the following sections, you'll learn about some. Hey, how long is this damn chapter? Oh, there's only a couple. In the following sections, you'll learn about. I'm only going to do 30 more minutes of this, 15 more minutes. In the following section, you'll learn about some of the most common components of the motherboard. What they do, where they are located, and show you some components that look like they can be blah 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 blah. Some components in this chapter provide you with only a brief introduction. Bus architecture. In a PC, data is sent from one component to the other via bus, which is a common collection of signal pathways. In the very early days, PC used serial buses, which can be sent one bit at a time, were painfully slow. Brilliant engineers realized that they could redesign the bus and send 8 bits at a time, which resulted in a big speed increase known as a parallel bus. The downside of the parallel communication is the loss of circuit length and how long the circuit could be throughout, blah, blah. The signal could travel only a short distance, and the amount of data was limited to be careful. I already know about all this, but what was once old, and then if you guys want to pause it and read it yourself, pause it and read it yourself. What was once old in the new design, as engineers have discovered methods to make serial transmissions work and data rates. I already know about all this, man. Examples of specification that have heralded the dominance of serial communications are serial advanced technology advanced attachments, serial ATA or SATA, universal serial bus, USB, i.e., FireWire, and perpetual components interconnect express PCIe. The term bus is also used in any parallel or bit wiring implementation where multiple devices can be attached at the same time in parallel. Small computer systems interfaces, USB and Ethernet. On a motherboard, several different buses are used. Expansion slots of various architectures, such as PCIe, are included to allow for insertion of external devices, adapters. Other types of buses exist within the system, allow communications between CPU and RAM, and other components with which data can be exchanged, except for CPU slot sockets. Memory slots, there is no insertion point for the devices. Many bus systems, because no adapters exist, various buses throughout a given computer system can be related to their bus speeds. The higher the bus speed, the higher the performance. In this case, various buses must be synchronized to proper performance, such as system bus, blah blah. On the front side of the bus clock, for instance, yeah. Chipsets. A chipset is a collection of chips or circuits that perform interface or perpetual functions for the processor. This collection of chips is usually the circuitry that provides interface for memory, expansion cards, and onboard perpetuals, and it generally indicates how a motherboard will communicate with the installed perpetuals. Chipsets are usually given a name and a model number for original manufacturer, for example, B550X570. Chipsets that support advanced smart devices, AMD processors, and or Intel motherboard chips. Typically, the manufacturer and model tell you that your particular chipset has a certain set of features. For example, type CPU and RAM supported, type of brand on the onboard video, so on. Don't worry about memorizing chipset names. You can look them up online and understand their features. Chipsets can be made up of several integrated circuit chips. Intel based motherboards, for example, typical use two chips. To know for sure, you must check the manufacturer's documentation, essentially because cooling mechanisms frequently obscure today's chipsets. Chipset chips. Chipsets can be divided into two major function groups called blah blah blah, North Bridge and South Bridge. Okay, AMD and Intel have integrated North Bridge and South Bridge functionality opposed to separate chipsets. North Bridge. The North Bridge subset of motherboard chipset is the set of circuitry or chips that perform one very important function: management of high speed perpetual communications. The North Bridge is responsible for primary communications and integrated video using PCIs, for instance, and the processor memory community. Therefore, it can be said that much of the true performance of the PC relies on the North Bridge. We use the term North Bridge referring to a functional subset of the motherboard chipset. There is actually the communications between the CPU and memory occur over what is known as front side bus, which is just a set of signal pathways connected to the CPU main memory. For instance, the clock signal that drives the front side bus is used to drive communications by certain other devices, PCU slots, making them local technologies. Backside bus, if present, is a set of signal pathways between the CPU and external cache memory. The bus is the same clock speed drive. If no backside bus exists, cache is placed in the front side bus. The North Bridge is directly connected to the South Bridge. It controls the South Bridge and helps to manage the communications between the South Bridge and the rest of the computer. South Bridge. South Bridge, uh, subset of the chipset, is responsible for providing support to the slower onboard perpetuals, USB serial parallel ports, and so on. Managing their communication with the rest of the computer and resources given to them, these components do not need to keep up with the external clock of the CPU and do not represent a bottleneck over overall performance in the system. Any component that would impose such restrictions on the system should eventually be developed for the front side bus bridge attachment. In other words, if you're considering any components other than the CPU, memory, or cache, or PCU slots, the South Bridge is in charge of them. Most motherboards today have integrated USB network and analog digital ports. South Bridge to manage. For example, which I'll discuss in this later chapter, perpetual cables connectors. South Bridge is responsible for managing communications with the slower expansion buses such as PCI legacy buses. In this photo, the chipset of the motherboard with the heat sink of the North Bridge on top left connected to the heat spreading cover of the soft bridge on the bottom. A modern computer chipset. Shown a schematic of a typical motherboard chipset and the components which they interface. Notice that the components interface parts of the chipset. CPU, cache, memory controller, onboard audio. Yeah, so they're connected to certain parts of the board. Soft bridge controls all the sub functions or components, or what do they call them? USB expansions, slots, and the North Bridge controls the main expansions or slots, memory controller, CPU, cache, and then the North Bridge and South Bridge are connected. Front side bus is this, I guess, and then the back side bus is the back. A schematic of typical motherboard chipsets. All right, how many more minutes we got? 8 minutes. I might just be able just to get to this motherboard, and we might have to do different bit. Man, this might take a long time. But this is a small chapter, so expansion slots. The most visible part of the motherboard are usually expansion slots. These are small plastic slots, usually from 1 to 6 inches long. As the name suggests, these slots are used to install various devices and the computer expansion capabilities. Some expansion devices that might be installed on these include video, network, sound, and and if you look at the motherboard on your computer, you will more likely see one of these types expansion slots today: PCI, and PCIe. The following sections we will cover how to visually identify different expansion slots. The motherboard, PCI expansion slots. It's now considered an old technology, but many motherboards in use still today contain 32-bit perpetual component interconnect PCI slots. They are easily recognizable because they are only around 3 inches long and classically white, although modern boards are liberties with colors. PC slots become extremely popular in the advent of Pentium class processors in the 90s. Although popularity has shifted from PCI to PCIe, the PCI slots service to the industry cannot be ignored. It has been incredibly prolific, but we don't use them anymore, right? Then what gives a care? PC, it's like talking about a VCR. PCI expansions buses separate 33 megahertz or 66 megahertz over a 32-bit channel, resulting in data rates of 130 megabytes and 266 megabytes, respectively, with a 133 megabyte PS being the most common service. Server architecture included. PCI is a shared bus topology, however, so mixing these megahertz adapters in 66 megahertz system will show all adapters to a 33 megahertz. Older servers might have a feature of 64-bit PCI slots as well. Since version 1.0, which doubles the 32-bit data rate, see the sidebar arriving at the exact answer. For help with understanding the math involved, frequency, blah, 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 blah. Arriving at the exact answer. To get math exactly right when dealing with the frequencies and data rates ending in 33 and 66, you have to realize that every 33 has an associated third and every 66 has associated two-thirds. I don't care about that. PC slots and adapters are manufactured in a 3.3 volt and 5-volt versions. Yep, that's the on and off. Universal adapters are key to fit slots based on either two voltages. The notches in the card are common 5 volts adapter is oriented towards the front of the motherboard. 3.3 volts towards the rear. Show several PC expansion slots. Here's your expansion slots. Note that the 5-volt 32-bit slot forward, blah, blah, blah. Although notice that the universal 32-bit card, which has notches on both positions, blah, blah, blah. Yep. PCI expansion slots. PCIe, the most common expansion slot architecture that is being used on motherboards is PCIe. It was designed to replace PCI. It was a known other old video standard called standard radio graphics port AGP. PCI has the advantage of being faster than AGP while maintaining the flexibility of PCI. PCIe has no plug compatibility either. AGP or PCI. Some modern PCI motherboards can be found with a regular PCI slot backwards compatibility, but has not been included for years. PCI is casually referred to as bus architecture. To simplify its comparison with other technologies, true expansion buses are total width. PCI uses a switch component with point-to-point connections. Star topology. PCI uses the concept of lanes, which are the switch point-to-point signal pass between any two PCI components. Each lane that switch interacts with separate pairs of wires, both traffic PCI pairing between cards. Cards are negotiable, the highest manually reported. Here's the new ones. There are several different links with PCI. There's common links. Care. Every PCI slot has a 22 pin portion common to the rear. 22 pins. Four major versions of PCI are currently available on the market. One, two, three, four. For the four versions, a single lane, therefore one, operates in each direction at a data rate of 250 megabytes, also almost twice the rate as the common PCI slot. 100 megabytes per second, approximately 1 gigabyte per second, and roughly 2 gigabytes respectively. PCI 5.0 was formerly rafted as PCI Special Interest, blah blah. An associated bidirectional link has normal throughout the double. I don't know if I care about all this. Combining lanes simply results in linear multiplication of these rates. For example, yeah, these shorter cards. It's common sense. Because of its high data rate, PCIe is the current choice for gaming aficionados. Additionally, the technology is similar to allow such combined. This is all just basic common sense right here, man. Of course, gamers going to use that. It's faster, right? The three PCI graphics, blah, 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 blah. Processing unit GPUs and memories to feed graphics output to single monitor adapters. Back to this figure. We don't care. Go backwards. I want to try to get to the next one. Using riser cards. Most PC expansion cards plug directly to the motherboard. A special type of expansion card called a riser card provides an additional slot to the other expansion cards and in parallel to the motherboard. Oh, I did not know. See, oh yeah. Riser cards. Riser cards often aren't found on desktop PCs today, but still do find some rack-mounted servers with low profiles, memory slots, and cache. And how long is this damn? There's a lot of stuff on the motherboard. This is gonna go through everything on the motherboard. Man, we might have to break these all up into chapters. Oh my gosh. Wait a minute. Yeah, these are really, really long. Let's go to these performance based questions and see how many I get right. Did I already do this? So going through this, as you can see, they're really long and really dry. I hate reading dry crap. So this is going to be just a hoot and a holler. This is going to be just a arduous task. So I'm going to break these up. I might have to break this series up into different videos. But this video obviously was the introduction, so it's always going to be long. But I think more of what I'm going to do is skim and read. But let's just, for shits and giggles, let's come over here and look at this and see how many we get right? Just based off of my current knowledge. Maybe I can skip this chapter. No, I don't know. I'm not. I'm just kidding. All right. Which computer components contain all the circuitry necessary for the components or devices to communicate to each other? Now we already know this answer, right? Um, it's motherboard. But where's the answers to this? Is there answers? Oh, it's gonna be in the back probably. Answers. The spine of the computer is. Where is it? Where's the answer though? Should it say A or B? Oh, A. So it is A. It's a motherboard. Spine of the computer is system board, otherwise known as motherboard. I like that because it's going to give me the answer, and then I could practice it. So we got that right. Let's go to yeah, we probably want to go here and then go back. Oh no, it's right here. Questions. Okay. You are told by a technician over the phone that you need to bring replacement for a DDR4 SDR DRAM or SD DRAM memory. What type of packaging is used for the DDR4 memory? What type of packaging? Oh man. See, I'm gonna get that wrong. It was DD one, two, three. So it's gotta be uh this one? C? Yeah, C. Oh no, wait, four. So it's the 298 pin DIMM. Let's see. I don't know, man. That's probably wrong. And you can imagine. Oh yeah, C. DDR4 RAM is manufactured on a 288 pin DIMM as DDR5, although two. See, and the reason why I deduced that, I got that right by accident. I took an educated guess on that one because um, when we were reading it, it was saying it was going in order one, two, and three. Remember, it was like version one, version two. Okay, you need to replace the memory in a desktop PC and go to purchase some RAM. When you are at the store, you need to find the appropriate type of memory. What memory chip would you find on a stick of PC3 1600? PC3 1600. What memory chips would you find on a stick of oh three, right? So I'm gonna assume this right here, DDR3 1500, no 16. So C. Let's go back and see if that's okay. Wait a minute. Wrong one. Oh, I got it wrong. B. Remember the 8-to-1 rule. Modules greater than but not included SDR as they are named with a number 8 times larger than the number used on the chip. Yeah, so we didn't read that part. This means that a PC3 600 modules, DDR modules are properly. So we probably have to finish the chapter. Yeah, because I probably would have done that. This is like the things that you know. This is the reason why you got to finish the chapters and you got to read because I would have been like, oh yeah, remember it's gonna be 8-to-1 rule or something. We didn't get to that yet, so that would be in the memory section right here, right? So yeah, this will be fun. Let's get through this, and I mean we'll make it fun. I mean we're gonna have to make it fun because this is not fun. These study guides, practicing for an exam is not fun. So if we can try to make it fun, look, we were barely about to get to it. Look, double data rate. Sometimes it was going to show me an 8-to-1 ratio here. Where's the 8-to-1 ratio that was showing me? I don't know. Anyways, we'll go back here. Stop. We're right here. I don't know. I had fun doing the video, but maybe we could. So that's just a little taste. This is probably going to take a while. I might. I'm gonna have to figure out a structure for this or something, or maybe I'll go through this myself and then just show you guys what I got wrong, what I got right, how I fixed it. Because I'm gonna go through and read all this myself, right? So, maybe this will be, I'll go through as much as I can in 30 minutes, and then I'll skip to the end and show you what I got wrong, what I got right, how I tracked it on my documentation, and then just get through it, because I want to try to take this test in like a couple weeks. I don't want to take forever. So this is not going to be a complete series. Besides, I don't think you would want to go through this word for word in 100 different videos. So I'm going to try to chop this up the best I can, and make this series fun. All right, that was HackTheFile, and I'll see you next time.